Hey, what is up? Welcome back to Shadowcraft. I believe it's episode 70? I'm doing it kind of in order of like everything that's happened now rather than the chapters, but still keeping the chapters, if that makes sense. So I believe episode 70, which doesn't seem like that far for the amount of time that I'm going on. But anyway, we're being a bit laid back today just because I'm in kind of like a tight spot right now. Things aren't too great in life, but yeah, we're going to kind of try and keep going. I've chosen some smaller farms and one big one just because I do want to keep that sort of edge of risk and excitement in here. So, hey, stop it. Just go away. Please just go away. I'm trying to do an intro. Go away. It's been 2 weeks. Just let me do my intro. Yeah, and I've actually made some fancy little things as well I can chuck in here just to sort of spice it up a little. Now, coming over to this place here, not many of you will really know it because I haven't really showed it off that much, and it's one of the farms that I kind of built behind camera. But essentially, it's a bonemeal farm. Basically, what it does is it spawns in stone, converts that to moss, and then that turns into bonemeal via the composters I have set up at the bottom here. But what I want to do today is make a convertible moss farm by literally just a flick of a switch via some very easy redstone and extremely fun bedrock mechanics. See, because the versions are different, in Bedrock you can move blocks with pistons and sticky pistons that you wouldn't really be able to move in Java, such as furnaces and composters and other things. But with the aid of it in this version, it makes it a lot easier to build conversion farms, such as this one. Because all I'm thinking is literally we push pistons one way and then the other way, which switches it between the composters and the hoppers, which is another block you can push in Bedrock, which is kind of sweet. And obviously, even though it's simple, you've got to test some machines all the way through just to make sure they work, and nothing is breaking the rest of the farm, because the farm itself is actually quite complicated in terms of redstone underneath, where the bone mill goes in to essentially spread the moss. Just got to chuck in a couple pieces, and simple as that, it should be pretty much done. And with the handy use of trapdoor mechanics in the game like this now, we can actually check everything on such a level. And now that it's done, I've actually made it somewhat more efficient by making it toggleable with the buttons. You can decide how much output you want from bone meal or moss, because I'm going to be using moss less than I'm going to need bone meal for a lot of farms. But I thought I might just switch the farm on to show you how it really works, and there is about 5 or 6 layers of the thing. It does get pretty laggy, but I will just try to bear with it. And as you can see, all is up and running. The stone gets generated, gets converted into moss, the water kills it and pushes it this way through the fence gates into the hoppers. And like I said, this farm is stacked, so you could get loads and loads at a time if it was fully on. I've just put this bottom layer on for now just to show you kind of like how it works. But as you can see, the hoppers are switched, so I'm actually getting more bone meal than I am moss right now, but obviously I can switch it back to more moss than bone meal. Also, something else with the design is that you get the azalea trees and the carpets from it as well, which is super duper helpful, especially if you're trying to spice up a place or add a bit of nature or a bit of flourish or a bit of fluorescence. Tell you what though, I am actually going to give you an in-depth look at this thing. We'll pop into a spec on a copy and we'll just fly through the farm showing you the detail of how it works. And just as we're flying through this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow and share, because it's really great support for the channel and the videos, and it's excellent motivation for me to keep going. But as you can see, there's bone meal dispensers underneath that get fired on a timer as well, with the water with the dispenser at the back. Also on the timer is the stone generator, and it all works in unison, and it works amazingly, and it's fully stackable. I might do a tutorial for this at some point, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we're gonna go get some shrooms. What? On the mushroom fields and the mushroom island, where the mushrooms live, because obviously you can get soup there as well, so we can get more than one farm there. I've actually got a very cheap and nasty design in mind, and I actually chose the mushroom island or the mushroom fields over the dark oak forest just because there isn't as much stuff in the way while you're building, and also it spreads the farms out a little bit, so you do actually go to every single biome, since I do have a portal to every biome, which is one of the videos on the channel, so if you want to check it out, feel free. But now, after finally gathering all and everything we need, we can finally go and build this damn thing. We're off to see the mushrooms, the wonderful mushrooms of all, because of all the wonderful fungi they does. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of all the wonderful fungi they have. Anyway, we're going to get started right about here. I just need to dig out a hole, I think needs to be about 5 by 5 to encase the size of the mushroom, and one around it for all the drops that are going to fall out of this. Then it's just les pistons, which are going to push up our observers and our dispensers, simultaneously causing Bonemeal to be spat violently out at the mushroom, before obviously growing it into a magnificent large mushroom, which we're then just going to haul down with an axe, because, well, I need the mushrooms, to be honest. Also, with this farm, you can use Silk Touch or Fortune, which grants you the actual blocks or the mushrooms themselves, which means you can plant and make more. So, effectively, this is another 2-in-1 farm. So that's the farm finished, and sorry for the rain and the darkness. I didn't bring a bed with me, idiotically, and that does explain the phantoms and the insanity. Yeah, so I'll see you in the morning. Finally, dusk. Or is it dawn? I can't remember. Anyway, the farm is done, and I actually set up this one at the opposite end of the island. This is the red one, runs on this same exact mechanic, same exact farm, works with both mushrooms, and you get small and the actual blocks out of these as well. You stand on this pressure plate in the middle, it sends up a Bonemeal and a dispenser, with observers behind which automatically fire it, growing any mushrooms that you place down. Break all of this, it all goes into a water system, which instantly goes into use, so you can keep replanting them and or collecting the blocks. And now to return for the final one, which is admittedly hard and not soft, easy, yes, easy to do. There's kind of a balance between it because of where it is, but also how big it is and the materials. But first of all, we've got to make sure we keep our shrooms hidden away and safe. Don't want anyone finding these. So yes, like I said, it's hard and easy to build this mob farm. It's easy because of the resources. It's not too much, but it does apparently give good rates. The hard bit is finding out where to build it, because I don't really have a predefined location like I do for some of the other farms. And I'm thinking about doing it in a certain crossroads area that would work really well. And so here we are, we just need to come up here, and essentially we're going to build up, I think it's about 128 blocks above this pond instead of the ocean, and this should hopefully reduce mob rates underneath, which should increase mob rates on the farm. I might still have to do a bit of spawn proofing, but it shouldn't take too long, especially when I start building in this area. And if you're wondering what I was talking about when I mentioned a crossroads, then we're actually in the midst of it now. So over here you have your gravity or normal mountains, over here you have a savanna, and then down the bottom there you have a plains and a sunflower plains, and this is the centralmost point I could find between all of them. And the mob farm is going to be built here, so we're going to kind of build up around this place eventually, and really kind of like intersect the villages and the cities that go around here, because I think it will look really, really cool. And to be fair, the portal isn't too far away from the farm, so it should render in and actually spawn things as soon as you get to this area. But this is where we get started with the build, so I'll grab the stuff and I'll meet you up here. Oh, hello again. Kind of went serpentitious there for a second. Anyway, yes, so I've got all the stuff now, and we're just going to get building straight away off the bat. It might be a time lapse, I'm not sure. I've got kind of a new way of building stuff, which works with smaller farms like this. So let's jump right in.
When I saw you downtown, I started acting like a clown, just to see if you would notice me and maybe get you to laugh. I did get some attention from the girl right next to you. Then all my friends saw me fleeing for my life.
So that was just one layer, and that took me around half an hour. I've got to do 6, and a roof, and some extra bits on the bottom. So I think we might just go into super fast build mode very quickly.
I gotta run, run, run. I gotta steal love.
Man, that flew by. I lost track of how long it took me to build that, but it went by quite quick, so I was just building the same thing over and over. This is the top final layer, which is why it looks a bit different with the black blocks, and I've actually used some polished diorite to notify me that it is the top thick layer. And basically all I've got to do after this is go ahead and build a roof with a bit of leaves, a bit of slabs and all of that. So we're going to get this finished and go and do that. That is a great site though, and I might turn this into something like I did with the bee farm in the end, or I could just leave it as is. I could even add futuristic things or a bird carrying it or something like that, but that's all up to the future. The mob farm is now done and I'm super duper happy. It does work, I have used it a couple of times, but just because we are running out of time here, there is just one last thing I want to show you over in the distance, which some of you may have seen quite recently, because a certain event came up quite recently as well. To be honest, I couldn't miss this out. This is just beautiful. Any sunset in the game I just fly into, it's just amazing. It looks really, really cool. Anyway. Yep, so if you didn't know what I was talking about, most of you will do, hopefully. If you didn't see the short, I would suggest going and watching it, but this is the red room. It was subjective at the time, and it's what I built for Valentine's Day. I'm in the place where I build all the rooms for the different holidays and the events. I've done one for kids in need, I've done one for fireworks night, I've done one for other things. There's a whole Halloween build outside. And I wanted this room intentionally to kind of be the red room, which is mentioned quite a lot in Gothic books and is meant to be a representation of fear. This room puts out all light, it is just red. It emphasises your fear rather than showing it to you. But because red is also the colour of love and passion, I thought it would work for Valentine's, and unintentionally what I did with the lights was made it darker on the top and lighter on the bottom with the fog effect. Therefore, kind of giving it this emphasis on the fact that there is a very thin line between love and hate, which I think is an amazingly cool detail. But if you want to see more amazing stuff and possibly suggest things for future videos, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow and share, and possibly leave a comment as well. I love the feedback and the constructive criticism. And consider checking out my Twitch at twitch.tv/ShadowDragon58. I could even be live right now. Beat it ups before we go. If you want to follow me on my socials, then feel free. Here we go. Hopefully you all had a lovely time today, and I'll see you hopefully really soon. Well, not soon, but soon enough.